There's not enough money in the world that can fix like what they're dropping in the sky, what they're putting in your food. Like the best thing that you can do is teach kids from a young age about food, and are empowered as they get older to know what to do. Fix that childhood obesity. If you're gonna take care of your kids better, you'll probably take care of you better.
And it's not so much about how long you live, it's about how well you live. You eat less processed foods, you will have a better life. Make sure they're not eating folic acid in your supplements or folic acid in your flour.
It's pretty hard to be wildly unhealthy if you eat at home.
Danica Patrick.
Hello, good to see you again.
Welcome back to the podcast. We did a podcast a few years ago.
Right?
Bring me up to speed on your health journey since then.
Oh,
we talked about
so much better.
Okay,
yeah.
What's going on?
I mean, it's been a few years since we talked and saw each other back in Arizona. I mean, well, I had breast implants, and it kind of just created a cascade effect on my health. So I got those removed in 2022. And I mean, that isn't like the only thing that made me better, but it was kind of a gatekeeper. I feel like it was disrupting gut health. It was disrupting hormones. So it like kind of helped unlock that. And I still had to do some things, and I just generally had such systemic inflammation. Just like for so many years, I'm like, my face doesn't even look like this. Like I look back now and I'm like, I feel so bad for that girl, and I wasn't wrong. It was true.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in the best shape and best biology, best mental health. Like I'm the best I've ever been at 43.
That's amazing.
And I knew I'd get there. But people kept saying to me, they're like, you're getting older. You might have to just accept things. And I'm like, F that. I'm going to figure this out. And here we are.
But that's the mainstream Western medical narrative is
Right.
You're getting older. It's okay to have high blood pressure. It's okay to be tired. It's okay not to sleep well. It's okay to have hormonal shifts in women. That's kind of what MAHA is about too, kind of rebelling against that and getting people to understand they can take back their health and keep looking for it.
How long do you think people should be able to maintain a very high level of physical fitness, biology? Like how long should you accept that? Believe what should be the new narrative on how long people should be able to maintain a really, really high level of health?
Have you ever spent time with any indigenous groups,
No.
like hunter-gatherers or anything?
No.
So that's my evidence would come from the Hadza. So I went to Tanzania in 2021. I spent time with the Hadza. And there were guys who were probably in their 60s, climbing trees. Like they would show the younger guys how to cut down a small tree. They would use a machete and make spikes out of the small tree, hammer the spikes into a tree, a baobab tree, climb the baobab tree. They're 30, 40 feet in the air and look for hives to get honey. These are 60-year-old guys, give or take 60. So these are 60-year-old guys moving like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And what you see in those populations is something called squaring of the morbidity curve. Morbidity is just this word that means like, it's like how quickly do we become decrepit?
Got it.
Right?
What's your slope of dying?
Yes, your gradual slope of dying. You're not dead, but you're partly dead.
Right.
You're partly dead because your abilities are declining. You're not as vital. You're not as strong. You get more injuries. So if you look at hunter-gatherer populations, they have a squaring. They keep vitality much longer into their life, and then in the last 2 to 3 weeks of their life, they decline very quickly and they die.
Years and years ago, I interviewed David Sinclair. And I was asking him, like, how long should people live? Are we trying to live until we're 200? He's like, no, not necessarily. But what you want to do is you want to live a really, really healthy life. And then essentially it ends. Like you want to maintain that health for the duration. So he kind of basically said that, which is like, you basically just have that squaring of the morbidity line. You basically live a great life and then you kind of just die.
You die at the end.
And that would be the way you'd want to do it, right? You'd want to get to whatever it was, 103 years old and, all of a sudden, you're just kind of like, I'm not doing so good. And
then you're dead.
Right, exactly. You're going to be climbing your coconut tree and then bam.
You're done. My goal is to surf until I'm 80 years old. Right? Or 90. Let's see how long we can get this going because it's fun now.
Well, shoot, look at Bobby. I mean, look at Bobby. Look how fit he is. How old's Bobby? 60?
I think he's in his 70s.
Almost 70? 70s? Geez. I mean, this is who we want for health and human services. Like this is the kind of person we want leading the way for how to be healthy because he demonstrates it.
He demonstrates it.
I posted some funny story yesterday. It was like, believe in, the science and the food pyramid and the guidelines and recommendations, or eat a ribeye for breakfast every day. And it was like, basically, obese woman. And then the other picture of the ribeye person was, you know, super duper fit, muscular, strong, and healthy.
That's what happens. And we
Like-
see, yeah, I mean, you looked at the previous secretaries of health across countries. Bobby is a shining example of health.
Exactly.
And I talked to him earlier this morning and I said, what do you eat? And how do you stay fit? And he said he likes to go for walks. He works out every day. He eats basically meat. And it sounded like he eats meat and like pistachios is basically his diet. That's the Bobby Kennedy diet. That's the
Well, I heard
secretary.
pistachios are good to eat before bed. Like they help like activate your sleep. Maybe it's tryptophan or something like that.
I
But
don't know.
maybe that's it. It's his dose of sleeping medicine. Go to bed.
But he said he doesn't eat processed foods. And so I think that to your question, I think that this is what, and I think this is what hopefully this MAHA report today will show us. This is the message that I hope we can get out to people in the United States is, look, if you eat less processed foods, you will have a better life. And it's not so much about how long you live, it's about how well you live, right? It's health span, not lifespan.
Right.
I'm good living until 95.
Right.
I'm good living until 90. If I have a good life until I'm 89 and a half years old, that's great. Who gets that, you know? 89 and a half years.
We have to change it from I think a real fundamental sort of level and from an age group. We need to, I mean, like school already has so much information that is not needed in life. I mean, imagine if they were teaching kids how to grow food, the nutritional value of things, how to actually cook food.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many people grow up and they don't know how to cook, so they're like, I don't know, I'm just going to go out and grab something. It's like, you know, I do believe that if you knew how to cook it, if you ate at home, basically, if you ate at home, weren't even like maybe particular about what it was. It's pretty hard to be wildly unhealthy if you eat at home. If you go, but the problem is that when you don't know how to cook and you don't know what to eat, you go out to eat. I mean, they're just going to satisfy sort of their cravings. They're going to fry things. You know, who fries anything at home? You know, you're gonna be reasonable with whatever, you know, butters and oils and seasonings and things. You're going to be reasonable, like, because you're, you know, you're not going to just dump something. And I feel like if you go out to a restaurant, that's where they use seed oils. They use way more than you'd want to use. And they're using bad salts. They're not using, you know, natural salts, whether it's Redmond's or I Love Maldon salt, or there's plenty of great salts, Celtic salt. They're using ionized crappy salts. You know, these things, I find that the bad salts really do make you retain water, but the good salt actually does the opposite.
I haven't had bad salt in a while. I avoid it like the plague. I don't even want that, you know. But when I travel, salt is one of the things that I think about very intentionally. I go to the store and I think I'll get Maldon or I'll get Jacobson's.
Yeah.
And I have this nonprofit and I want to repeat a salt analysis because there was this blog called Momavation that looked at heavy metals and salts. And people are not convinced that their analysis was accurate, but they said that some salts had high levels of heavy metals and some salts were good. So they said that like this Diamond kosher salt was very clean. And they said Jacobson salt's pretty clean. And they said like a lot of the Celtic salts you find in grocery stores, not so clean. So we want to repeat that. But I think about salt a lot.
Yeah.
And
so I think Alex asked me like, what's the most granola thing in my bag? And I'm like, oh, I have salt. I have salt in my bag.
That's not,
you know,
but that's smart.
Dude, how many people travel with salt?
Why do you have salt in your bag?
Because my salt tastes better, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, like it can take something very simple and make it delicious.
Yeah.
Like use some basic kind of food and you just put salt on it and it tastes a lot better.
Yeah.
It's just so good for you.
You ever watch any of these survival shows? I don't watch these shows.
I mean, I have before, but it's been a long time.
I think that the show was called Alone and it was in Australia. And I heard that the woman who won it, they asked her, you know, they let you bring a few things, right? And one of the things that she brought was salt. So I feel like for survival, salt is like unparalleled.
100%.
Having a good salt.
You're right.
And I was talking to actually Bobby's assistant today, and she said that she gets cramps. And I said, you probably don't eat enough salt.
Right.
And she said, oh, I have to eat more salt. But like, who travels with salt? That's really smart. Travel with
Not
salt.
only that, but I love Element, so I put Element in my. I've tried a lot of different. I love Element. It's the best.
Yeah. What did you eat for breakfast this morning? Walk me through Danica's day.
Well, I mean, I was flying here, so I was like getting ready and packaging up all my stuff, and I normally eat eggs and sourdough.
Okay.
And my sister actually home makes it, so it's like very, very good sourdough. But we ran out of that, so I was like, well, my default breakfast it is on the go, 5 eggs.
Just cooked in a pan?
So I use a cast iron at home. My mom, and I also have Hexclad at home too, but my mom has Hexclad. So there's the unique kind of pan that they're like. But anyway, it was 5 eggs with a little bit of butter in there, just grass-fed butter and salt and pepper. Lots of mold down and some fresh cracked pepper.
Easy.
That's it. That's what I had for breakfast.
Breakfast of champions.
And coffee.
love it. And then have you even had lunch today?
I have not had lunch. I have had salt water, of course, but then I have like it's like a grass-fed kind of like bar. It's like called Jacob. I don't know. Like I just saw it online. I was like, all right, the ingredients look all right. So
Have you tried
when
the
we're
lineage
done,
stuff?
no, but
I'll give you some.
okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll eat. I love that. I love like jerky and meats like
Yeah.
that. That's very common.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'll probably have is like the healthiest bar I can possibly find. I only use bars when I'm necessary for like survival. I would much rather eat real food.
Yeah, right?
But there's better ones out there these days.
There are good ones and there are some bad ones.
For sure.
Have you seen this David bar?
No.
This thing kind of grinds my gears. So
Oh, really?
I do not like the David bar, and I'll tell you why. They're advertising it as the highest amount of protein for the smallest amount of calories.
Mm.
So I think it's 28 grams of protein and 150 calories or something, give or take.
Does the math track when you add all the
It does,
macros?
but the reason that the way they're doing that is something called I think it's called HPG or something, and it's a type. Remember that oil Olestra? Do you remember they used to make potato chips with Olestra? It was giving people like disaster pans. It was giving people like diarrhea.
Oh.
So there are these non-digestible oils, and they're using this oil in it. I think it's called HPG.
So it's basically that oil with the protein.
It's like
basically
it's like a really shitty, literally, oil that gives you a good mouth feel with the bar, but you don't digest it. And because these oils are not digested like Olestra and HPG, they pull fat soluble vitamins from your body.
Mm.
And then you actually can get lower levels of vitamin A and vitamin K or vitamin E and D. And so they give you this bar with like protein and fake fat, and it pulls nutrients out of your body. So this kind of stuff drives me bonkers. It's not real food, and it's actually a negative food. It pisses me off because there are like really well-known influencers who are behind this bar.
You're here to tell us all the stuff we shouldn't eat, which is almost everything, Paul. Sometimes I see it, I'm like, come on, you can't wreck everything. You can't wreck everything.
My friends,
what's the one thing that you've wrecked for yourself that you're really sad about?
It's not necessarily a food.
Oh.
It's hard for me to travel sometimes because I travel with a Wi-Fi meter, like RF meter, and now a magnetic field meter. I'll go to an Airbnb and I'll check
the
RF.
EMFs.
Yep, I'll check the RF and then the magnetic field, and then I'm just like, oh man, it's hard because
you're in it.
You're in it, and you can't necessarily
move.
So
here's the deal: you need to stop bringing that shit everywhere. Okay, you need to stop bringing it and freaking yourself out because there's nothing you can do about it.
Well,
don't do it for things you can't do anything about. If you can do it in your own house and fix it, fine.
Yeah.
But if you're like going somewhere and you got a hotel, like you're not gonna go anywhere else. So now all you're gonna do is freak yourself out.
But it's good learning.
This is mental health I'm helping you with.
It's good.
Okay. This is like medicine for you.
Do you do raw milk, Danica?
No.
Why not?
I just don't care.
You don't like it?
It's fine. I have no problem. I just don't. I don't know. I actually have a thing with drinking, like a smoothie or even or something like that. Like I don't like cold. I like to eat my food. I don't know if it's like. I think it's because like I don't know if it's like I have like that my chi is like I need warm food, cooked food. I do better with that. So I don't do well with like fermented things.
Okay.
Like it just doesn't. I don't need it. Like my body. It's like
you don't drink your food.
Cook the food.
Cook the food. Make it warm.
Yeah.
That's all you want.
Yeah. I'm happy. I mean, it's like good. I've had it before.
Yeah. Raw milk is great.
Got no problem with it.
You mentioned sourdough. I want to bring this up because I know that your sister, is this the sister that I met of yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that she's not making the sourdough with, well, what kind of flour does she use?
That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly, but I was actually just talking about this earlier. We were talking about like the sourdough that you get needs to be like all white. Like when it has like the brown like wheat flecks in it, I feel like they probably have the fermented like mother or whatever, and then I feel like they must add flour, like add fermented wheat that's not.
Yeah.
Because then I definitely get bloated from that.
That's fake sourdough.
Right. That's agreed. And then but as long as it's like white, like it looks, and it smells a little sour. I mean, that's sourdough.
Yes.
And you can get you can get brands that are fine in the store. I mean, if you got a friend or if you know somebody that makes it, even better. But my sister's doesn't have any kind of level of preservatives or anything like that. I don't know exactly what she uses for flour though.
I did a piece of content the other day that it was interesting, and I had a sourdough from Whole Foods. One of my friends said, hey, that sourdough on my counter is really good. And I looked at the ingredients, and the flour had folic acid, and I thought, oh, I should talk about this. I'm pretty sure your sister is not using a fortified flour that has folic acid.
Probably not.
But folic acid is a problem with sourdough. So people, if they haven't seen that reel, should make sure they're not eating folic acid in your supplements or folic acid in your flour.
How about that? I mean, didn't they tell like pregnant women to eat that? Like, I mean, these are the things that, I mean, sometimes maybe it's truly innocent and that really was at some point in time something we thought was all right. But, I mean, These are the things that have to be corrected.
Folic acid doesn't occur in nature. It's tetrahydrofolate. And then your body has to use an enzyme called dihydrofolate reductase to turn folic acid into tetrahydrofolate. And a lot of that folic acid, or some of that folic acid, can end up as unmetabolized folic acid in the human body. And there's evidence that it can competitively inhibit the binding of actual usable folate to the folate receptor. So it's important that people don't use folic acid. I just thought about that when you were talking about sourdough. So we are in DC right now. This is definitely a different environment than we've usually been in. It's freezing in this freaking room.
Freezing in this room.
Freezing in this room.
The curtains are drawn. I need some natural light.
I know. I need some natural light too. I've been sitting in this.
You need to go outside. I think it's time to take your shirt off, right? Isn't it time to take your shirt off and get some essential 20 minutes of vitamin D? I think we have time before the signing.
I've had my shirt on for at least 5 hours, so it has to come off very, very soon. And I'll be sure to get content of it. We're actually talking about going outside. You can come outside with us if you want. We're gonna ground on the White House lawn.
Okay.
We're gonna take our shoes off on the White House lawn.
I'll kick my heels off. No problem.
Yeah. But how did you get involved in this MAHA movement?
I mean, I just am all about health. I mean, my podcast that I've had for 5 or 6 years, it's an area of fascination and passion for me. So I've interviewed many people, including yourself, and most of the people here. I've talked to most everybody. Because I'm just interested and curious. So I think that I just naturally kind of gravitated towards all of this. But overall, I would just say that, it's one of those things that has motivated me to get into politics, is because, you can run from a lot of problems if you have enough means, but at some point in time, there's not enough money in the world that can fix what they are dropping in the sky, what they're putting in your food. I'm not going to pick from my garden every day. And if I did, I'm still dealing with whatever they spray in the sky. So you can't run from the problem anymore. So I think that's really where I got to, was all right, enough's enough. So
yeah. And this report is interesting. I mean, we are this afternoon going to walk across the White House lawn, presumably, and go hear about this MAHA chronic disease report. But it's pretty crazy what we're talking about here.
Well, I mean, I just think that the fact that it's is brought to the highest level, and let's just acknowledge that MAHA, this is not a government program. This is a grassroots movement that has built to what you see today. And so the fact that now it's leading us to the White House, leading us to the White House to have, the president sign this order to address this issue, I think just speaks to the passion that is involved within this movement. And fixing, it's very focused on childhood obesity, because those children will become adults. And also, if we fix that childhood obesity, it has a trickle down effect on the parents too. If you're going to take care of your kids better, you'll probably take care of you better.
Yeah.
And you can really see that. I mean, if parents generally are healthy and take care of themselves well, their children usually reflect that. So, but the best thing that you can do is teach kids from a young age about food, and so that they are empowered as they get older to know what to do.
Well, I think Bobby said it so well. Kids are not Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
They're just children.
Yeah.
And it's this nonpartisan thing. It's crazy to me that it's become so partisan. And I guess this is politics. It's something I never thought about. I never thought about politics until health became political. And since
you're talking about big pharma, big food. So you're talking about people that are greasing pockets probably and funding things, and that's where it becomes political.
And that's crazy. And I think that with this administration, more than any other in the past, at least in our lifetimes, there's this unique opportunity to change things at a foundational level.
Exactly.
And to be aware of it. I think this report is really going to show us these things and really pull back the curtain about how much kind of of this stuff has been hidden, and the corruption that's been a part of how it got this way. It's just how did it get this crazy?
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this, but I just think, we've gotten to a place where, I was talking with Kyle from the FDA and maybe Marty and Bobby, and it's wow, how did our food get so messed up?
Agreed.
It's crazy.
I agree. I think the same things, but no more. I mean, it's going to take time. But there's a lot of awareness around it, and that's what we're all doing here today.
So what do you think the path forward is? Where do we go from here?
I think implementing some different sort of classes and education in school, and cooking and food and gardening and all kinds of things to really educate people about food. And then from a federal level, control the controllables, which is what you're allowing companies to do to their food, the chemicals, the pesticides, all of those things that are put in our food that are making us less healthy. That's what they can do. So teach kids about how to eat, and then and then from a federal level, remove the stuff that is hurting our overall health.
Well said. And I think that it's cool. I mean, Kyle and Marty from the FDA are talking about this. They're talking about regulating what is in our food and what people can put in our food, taking out some of the things that are potentially harmful for us. It's cool. It's an exciting time.
It is good work. All the work that you do has led you here.
We're trying.
We're
trying. Thanks for coming on. It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Paul.